Hi everybody, today we are in Leamington Spa. Leamington Spa is one of the most central towns in England. It is one of the furthest towns away from any coastline. Today we'll be looking at the Midland Oak, which is famous and reputed to mark the exact geographical central point of England. We are just walking through the heart of Leamington, what's known as Jefferson's Gardens, which is an award-winning park for its array of exotic species of trees. One of the reasons for its exotic species of trees is due to its microclimate. Leamington Spa was made famous for its miraculous healing waters during the Roman times and then rediscovered during the Victorian era. So today we will be focusing our attention just 3/4 of a mile north of Jefferson's Gardens at a location which is known as the Midland Oak. The original Midland Oak was reputed to mark the exact central geographical centre of England. This is the first part of a series of 3 videos where we'll be looking at the Midland Oak, showing the importance of the trees and their importance to the earth grid, as well as looking at the incredible miraculous healing waters of Leamington Spa. We will see clear evidence of how the controllers have manipulated and hijacked the grid from the high positive, beneficial and healing energies generated by the earth grid, and how they took control over the grid in order to gain control over the conscious awareness for people, to give them a sense of power. So join me as we look at this of the Midland Oak and notice how different the energy feels from Jefferson's Gardens just 3/4 of a mile further north. And you should notice a slight difference in the energy field, even through the video. This is an example of how the manipulators have hijacked the energy grid, and will be uncovering discrepancies in the narrative we are being told. The original Midland Oak Tree was said to be up to 1,000 years old and reputed to stand at the very geographical centre of England. However, in the year 1967, this well-known natural landmark was destructed in order to build a road network, which led to its destruction. However, in the year 1988, we are told a descendant of the original oak tree was planted close to where the original oak tree was. In this video, we'll have a walk round the Midland Oak to look at the current Midland Oak and see how the controllers have manipulated the grid to serve their own purposes, destroying the natural healing benefits of the earth grid and the beneficial telluric energies to benefit humanity, and discovering the untold truth that we're not being told in the narrative. Now, let's just take a quick look to see where the Midland Oak Tree is in relation to England. So as you can see on the screen, the Midland Oak Tree is at pretty much the centre of England. It is worth mentioning at this point that the Midland Oak Tree wasn't the only considered marker for the centre point of England. During various times, there were 2 other geographical centres of England. They were Rugby in Warwickshire and Meriden just further north. It's of no surprise then that all three centre points of England considered during these various times are all connected by energy lines, or otherwise known as ley lines. And when I connected the dots, the ley lines up, they formed a perfect 90-degree triangle, or sometimes referred to as a 3-4-5 triangle. And it's interesting, as we will just briefly look at the other two centres and connect one of the main connections to all three centres, and that is being the home of some kind of sport. Let's take a brief overview on rugby. Rugby is a distance of 12.15 miles from Midland Oak. Rugby is most famous for the invention of rugby football, which legend has it, English clergyman Webb Ellis picked up the ball and ran with it during a school football match in 1823, creating the first style of rugby. Although the story has been enriched in the sports folklore, it is not supported by first-hand evidence, with the story of rugby only emerging after Webb Ellis's death. Is this another made-up story to support their narrative? The second reputed centre of England is Meriden. Meriden is located just 10.8 miles from the Midland Oak. It also has an obelisk at the centre of the green by the cross, which marks the exact centre point of England. This memorial of the obelisk was, remember, the cyclists who died during World War I. And it just so happens that in May 2020 it celebrated its 99th ceremony for the cyclists who perished during the First and Second World Wars. 99 is a significant number, as it also symbolises a reset, and 2020 was the start of the pandemic. Leamington Spa also has a claim to be the home of sport. It was believed and said that it is home to the first lawn tennis club in the UK, which was formed in the town centre of Leamington Spa by Victoria Park and the Royal Pump Room Gardens and Baths, as you can see from the image on the screen. You shall see later in the video the significance of the numbers 3, 6 and 9 between the three centres of England. When all the numbers are added up for their singular form, they are all either a 6 or a 9, as you can see from this image. Just like many other countries around the world, do you not find it strange why there is more than one geographical centre of the country around the world? I find that strange. To me, it seems like the controllers do not want you to know the centre of the country. It reminds me a bit of the North Pole, where they just drill a hole in the ice and stick a pole in to say that's the North Pole, the exact location of the North Pole. We are now taking a look at the Midland Oak Park, exact park where the original oak tree, the Midland Oak Tree, stood, marking the exact centre point of England, allegedly. However, in 1967, the well-known landmark, Midland Oak, was destroyed and cut down, as it was reported to be in a dangerous condition. However, in the year 1988, after major roadworks in the area, a replacement tree was planted, which was alleged to be a descendant of the original oak tree, as it was saved from an acorn in 1967 when the original Midland Oak Tree was cut down. From what you are seeing here, you may be able to feel that the energy of where we are now feels completely different to the energy of Jefferson's Gardens, where we started the video off in the introduction. There are two main reasons for this. One of them is the inversion that you can see where we're looking at now. An inversion creates a basin or a bowl, and a basin has an impact on the Earth energy grid. This basin was created in the year 2002 after there was extensive roadworks carried out in the area. Luckily, the tree planted in 1988 survived the extensive roadworks. Could they have been trying to kill the tree at this stage? But luckily, nature won, as it always does. So what they done in 2002, do some groundworks to expose an underground brook, a stream called the Binns Brook, to help prevent flooding of nearby houses. By doing so, they could control the level of water coming in and coming out. This was short-lived, as in the year 2013, just the other side of the park, in Pound Lane, they dug out trenches and put in underground piping in order to eliminate flooding. So was that just a cover for this inversion as to prevent flooding, considering it was used for such a short time scale and it was flooded on very, very few occasions, only when they wanted to believed it was to do. The combination of the inversion and water have a great impact on the energy flow of the earth grid. Was that a way for them to try and gain control of the flow of the energy in the earth grid? We shall be looking at the second technological impact, which has an impact on this energy in this area. Notice how, where we are now, there is a lack of wildlife compared to when we were in Jefferson's Gardens. This is filmed in May, so this is a busy time for the birds nesting their young. This has an impact on the wildlife as well as the people living close to this area. Here we have the sign for the park. Notice how on this sign it says that Midland Oak, or they refer to it as the round tree. Notice the two roundabouts at the top of the park and the bottom of the park. Notice how they can't seem to think how old the original Midland tree oak was. As they say, it could be 800, 900 or even 1,000 years old. Do you not think that when this tree was cut down, there would have been a survey to try and determine the exact age of this tree and how old it was? Surely they knew that at the time of cutting down. Why wouldn't they want to tell you the exact age of this tree? Is it because they're trying to hide something which does not fit into the narrative that they want people to believe? Before this area became the park as it is today, it was known as the Royal Leamington Spa Ladies Golf Club, which was founded in 1898. Plans were passed on the 3rd of February in 1898. However, just 2 months later, in April in 1898, from the plans being put into place, it was ready to open, and the pavilion was ready to host a 4-day ladies event. We'll be looking in depth more at the historical images of this area later in the video. Doesn't 2 months sound rather quick from the plan of the golf course to completion? Here we can see an example of their propaganda, as it shows 2 photos showing how the flood alleviation worked to textbook fashion. Is that not an example of their propaganda? Here we can see a tree being felled. It also doesn't look like they took health and safety seriously during those times. Here we have a smaller recently planted oak tree with a stone memorial. This was planted in memory of the people who served in the Warwickshire Horse Artillery during World War I. Let's now take a look at the road behind me to see what we can see. So as we pan over to the side of the road, we can see there's a junction between 2 roads, and at the end of the junction we can see some technological eyesore, one of the latest cell phone technology towers. We will go in more detail into that. That's so important to this energy of this grid. Here we have a first glimpse of Midland Oak Tree, which was planted in 19 1588. Here we have a plaque which says that this was reputed, the original oak tree was reputed to mark the centre point of England. However, going back to the sign at the top of the park, we noticed it said it was the exact point. Can they not get their story straight? As the word reputed, to me, does not mean there is any valid evidence to support this claim. Let's dive a little deeper into the symbology and the meanings of the numbers 369. Where we are standing now, the exact location of the oak tree, it is standing at 69 metres above sea level, which is 226 feet. Not only at a road junction, there is also a junction of energy lines where they connect the two energy lines and meet at exact 90-degree angle. Now, let's look at a news article that was featured a short while ago. Let's take a look at this article regarding that monstrosity of that cell phone tower just by the Midland Oak Tree, and you decide from the evidence I'm about to show you whether it's just purely a coincidence or there is a clear pattern emerging. Okay, so what we have here is an article that was featured on the 9th of September in 2022 regarding the construction of the mast that appeared in 2022. Let's just look at the date, for example. Notice we've got the 9th of September 2022. So we have the number 9 for the day of the month, September, the 9 month, and the year, if you add up all the 2's, add up to 6. So what we have here is the 9, 9 and 6. And as we know, the controllers revert what they do. So they see the number 9, which is a positive frequency and a vibration, and they invert it to a 6 to symbolise who they support and who their master is. This article mentions that local residents were furious as this 60-foot pole was erected overnight on Monday the 5th of September in the same year 2022. Now, if we notice here, it says overnight on Monday the 5th of September. If it was started to be put up and erected on Monday night, surely it would have been erected and ready to go on Tuesday the 6th of September. So, again, we have the 6 and the 9 with their symbolical meaning. And not only that, it's quite interesting, reporter happened to interview a couple of local residents who live close by, within a few hundred yards of this monstrosity. And notice how it says here that one of the residents they interviewed was a 66-year-old. And they interviewed his wife, who happens to be 60 years old, as you can see on here. So here we have the 3 6s. The husband being 66 and the wife. What do 3 6s symbolise? So not only do we have the 60-foot tower, they interviewed a resident who was 66 years old and his wife who happened to be 60. Can you see the pattern here? And one of the main factors is its position at the junction of the road, as well as where the two energy lines converge and form a 90-degree angle. So, as a result, this is an example of how the controllers manipulate the energy grid for their own purpose. Because by placing the microwave frequency from that tower, it will also feed the energy of the two ley lines, feeding the energy that they want to be filled and spread out for their own malicious purposes. Let's now take a look at some other geological features with a similar number combination. Just 2.1 miles from the oak tree, there was another tree which was felled in the year 2020. It was the Covington pear tree. The Covington pear tree was a wild pear tree located in a close by neighbouring village of Covington, which was said to be around 250 years old. And it was reputed to be the second largest wild pear tree in the country and regarded as a local landmark. In the year 2015, the pear tree was voted England's Tree of the Year. However, in September 2020, there was a petition with over 20,000 signatures to save the pear tree. However, exactly a month later, on the 20th of October 2020, it was destroyed and fell to make way for the new HS2. The HS2 is a project which stands for High Speed 2, which is a railway project to reduce the commuting time from Birmingham to London by 20 minutes and is estimated to cost a minimum of £100 billion. It's worth mentioning that the Covington pear tree may have been the UK's oldest wild pear tree. It was the second wild pear tree in the country, and it was even registered on a register of the British Isles as a national champion, being the oldest known specimen of a particular species. It's also worth knowing that the direction from the Midland Oak Tree to where the Covington pear tree stood is where the ley line goes from the Midland Oak Tree to Rugby, and the line goes from the Midland Oak Tree to where the pear tree was at an angle of 66.9 degrees. Is that another coincidence by any chance? Now, let's take a look at some video footage of the wonderful Covington pear tree.
Oh God! I found it, mate.
You got kids? You're going to have to explain one day when you've been able.
The guy was under the pear tree. I started filming, I didn't quite realise what was going on at first, and then I realised that they were actually chainsawing it limb by limb, piece by piece, and that's what they've been doing for the last 2 hours until virtually nothing left. I've been shedding tears and swearing and shaking and just feeling awful because I was born in the village. So, sorry, it just means so much to me, these woods and the pear tree, just seeing it just being destroyed for just the stupid train that nobody wants, nobody's going to use. And I'm just so upset. It's just a waste of time, a waste of money, and we're just seeing this every day up and down the country, destroying all our trees and all our wildlife, and it's just awful.
That was certainly some emotional footage of Covington pear tree. Now, some of you may be asking what you can do, because we've been going on about the destruction of these wonderful, life-giving, beneficial, caloric energies given by these trees. It's quite simple, because as the evidence I have submitted in this video, and those people who are consciously aware of what is actually going on out there, they know that the controllers want to do whatever they can, no matter what the cost is, to disconnect you from nature. Why is that? Because they realise that once a human being is connected and re-establishes that connection with nature, it becomes such a powerful force that the controllers cannot control, because we are one. We are all part of the nature, and once we re-establish that connection with nature, it is our connection with the Creator, the God, the universe, whatever you call it. So I'd highly recommend for anybody to reconnect with nature as much as you can, even if it's as simple as going out for a daily walk in nature where you've got the birds, the trees, all the plants, the rivers, the lakes, the ponds, and just for half an hour a day, just go out there, enjoy nature. Because at the end of the day, they want you to be disconnected from nature. So, what's the best thing to do? The complete opposite of what they want you to do, because they know that is self-empowerment, and once you're self-empowered, they have no control over you. So, go out there and enjoy nature, as nature can be our greatest healer and our greatest teacher. From my own personal experience and work on geomancy and the earth energies, I can confidently say that no matter what they do, put disharmony in the telluric energies, those energies are rising higher than ever before. Every day, those energies are rising at a rate they have never ever risen before. And there is nothing the controllers can do about it. The earth energies are coming back to create a new golden age. And you have that power to shine that beacon of light and expand the love to the world and nature. Because once you have that connection with nature, nature will support you in every single possible way. So just go out there and shine your light. If you want to spread the love, if you're quite happy to, then just in the comments type the word love and where you are from. Because just from doing that, you will be sending that energy of love into the earth grid where you are, spreading that love across the globe, raising consciousness, the frequency and the vibration of love. Let's take a look at some historical mapping to see how things have changed in a recent history. As you can see here, the Midland Oak Park where we were is in this area here, with the golf course taking a major part of the whole park. As we take the layering off, you can see that the park we see today is about a third of the size of the golf course that was there previously. As you can see, as 2/3 of the golf course has now been replaced by housing. It's quite interesting to see as well. Just to the left we have cricket ground, which again is another link to sports. So not only do you have the golf course where the Midland Oak Tree was, you also have the cricket ground. And the cricket ground, as you can see, still stands to this day. However, the golf course was only short-lived, as it was founded in 1898. And it ceased to be a women's golf club in 1914, at the start of the First World War. So they created a golf club that opened in a very short space of 2 months, only to last for around 16 years. Why did they build a golf course that only lasted for such a short time? The golf course moved to a different site. Sounds a little odd to me, wouldn't you say? The ladies used to play over at the gentleman's course on the Campion Hill golf course, which is just slightly further to the southeast, as you can see here. The reason the ladies golf club was created in the first place was, from what we are being told, that they found it inconvenient to use to the distance from the town to where the golf club was. Surprisingly, the distance from the town centre to the golf club, the ladies' golf club, is exactly half a mile, or just over 3/4 of a kilometre away. And the golf course they were sharing, gentleman's golf course at Campion Hills, is 0.5 miles away as well. So they decided to build the ladies' golf course as well as acquiring the Lillington Road links. Not only did they build the ladies' golf course, they also created a road which they said was specifically for the golf club because of the inconvenience from the town centre of just half a mile away. How many golf clubs do you see in the town centre of any town in the world? Not very many, I'm sure. So half a mile being inconvenient, does that sound a little bit fishy to you? And just below the golf club were the Leamington and the Lillington brickworks, which was just off Campion Road in Leamington Spa. And these operated from the 19th century until the 1950s, where the bricks were fired in large Hoffman kilns. A lot of the brickwork in the town centre can still be seen from these bricks, as there was brickworks close to the location and a golf course, the ladies' golf course and a golf course in Campion Hills. It's no surprising that a vast majority of golf courses are built upon previous quarries or early civilization settlements. And as we look to see on the old map where the Midland Oak Tree was, if we take the layering off, we can see that the original Midland Oak Tree appears to be where the roundabout at the junction of the two roads meet. So, in my opinion, they created this road knowing that in the near future that tree would be destroyed because of the change of the tree's environment. Any changes to the earthworks or groundworks to the earth grid has a significant impact to the energy running through the earth grid and the lathes. This is an example of how the controllers manipulate and hijack the energy grid of the earth. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I always like to end my videos on a positive note. So, in my opinion, since the year 2020, we have entered the age of the truth, where no matter how much they try to suppress the truth, the lies they keep telling, every time they suppress any truth, any lie that they now say, it amplifies the energy, the frequency of truth and love. They know truth is now far more greater and powerful than the lies and suppression of the truth. They know it's the end of the game. Even these people, however, still need compassion. They know, despite what their masters tell them, that they are exempt from karmic repercussions. There is no escaping the natural laws of the universe or God. There is no escaping the laws of cause and effect. They know they will have to take consequences of their actions that they have taken, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Those actions have been taken, and all those actions have a repercussion. There is no escape from the universal karmic laws. So all of you out there watching this video, shine your light, keep shining, be that beacon of light, spread the love and peace to you all. Thank you for watching the video, and join me in the next video where we dive even deeper down a rabbit hole. So there's lots more to come. Thank you for watching the video. Love and peace to you all.